you're not identifying whether or not he's even intelligent or not, doesn't make those predictions. So I'm asking you, what specific prediction would a creation model make that could be falsified?
Okay, great. Hope I'm not repeating myself. Many predictions could be falsified by a non-theistic belief. Produce life from non-life. Produce matter and energy from nothing. You made the point that fast transitions is not what we're looking for. I'm just looking for something that's left behind. Right? Where is the remnant of the transition between a reptile and a bird? Between an ape man and a human? Where are the ancestors for the fleas, etc.? Dinosaurs absolutely 100% exist. They are 100% what? Dinosaurs in the fossil record. So what would falsify my beliefs is a half a leg, half a wing, half a scale, half a feather, half a solid bone, half a hollow bone. The respiratory system of the reptile evolving into a bird. Some evidence of these transformations would be fine, but all we see is the final product. If you remember my chart, my tree of life chart. Oh, I'm going to put it up real quick. I think I got 2 minutes to answer this. Oh well, forget about it. The top part are all parallel lines. Do you remember? All the branches were deep and buried in the distant past. That chart, the last 100 million years, they're parallel lines. That's creation. Creation believes in parallel lines. Turtles making turtles, hamsters making hamsters, etc. Every birth on the planet supports creation. Suppose reptiles are the ancestors to birds. Okay? The egg hatches. Ma and Pa look. Dad says, Ma, them front legs, they don't look right. They're becoming wings, let's suppose. What would they do? They would kill it. In nature, they kill their mutants. They don't sit back and say, well, it's evolving into a bird. I'd like just to see the evidence of the transitional forms. Once again, trillions of evidences every day for creation. Reptiles make reptiles, birds make birds. So I think that would falsify it. Some living evidence, some falsified, some living evidence, some fossil evidence, make life from non-life, make matter and energy from nothing, would be good evidence for that. Thank you.
Real quick, that actually wouldn't falsify anything, because again, as I stated before, creation, a creator can do whatever he wants, unless you invoke a creator of a particular book. In this case, I know it happens to be the Bible. That's a different question. But if we're just talking about a creator or a creationist model, there's nothing you can falsify. The things you brought up, though, have, again, I mean, I encourage the audience, and Bill yourself, I encourage you to go look those things up. These transitional fossils that you claim are lacking are there. Just go to Google, type in transitional fossils, you'll see lists of them. And, I mean, there's all the things you mentioned, but again, you can do all the research yourself. I literally did this research. I mean, I've been doing it, but I put a lot of this together in the last few days because it's not hard to find this information. That's it.
John, you got one more thing. Can I do a quick remote? Because you got
Yes.
Okay. Real quickly, I strongly encourage all of you to look for the detailed evidence. Now, we all see magazine articles, newspaper articles. I encourage you to read the articles with a highlighter and highlight what part of the article. The evidence part. A few years ago, LA Times said a new ancestor to man found in northeast China. He was big, he was strong, he was hairy. He lived in the trees. He was found by John Smith of Harvard. The last paragraph of the article on page A8 or something said what was found. 1 inch of a shin bone. Okay? So why wasn't that the first sentence in the article? LA Times headlines, 1 inch of a shin bone was found in northeast China. We think it belonged to a man who was hairy, strong, lived in the trees. Once again, believe anything you want. But I would be happy to look at the evidence of all those fossils that neither you or I can pronounce to actually see what the actual fossils are. And there's interpretations of data. And I enjoy reading what the actual fossils are when they make these claims. And that's what you should too. But the first sentence of any paragraph should be the evidence, not the interpretation of the evidence, like that 1 inch of a shin bone. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to get to some of the questions. questions that you all have raised. We have been inundated, and there's no way we can get to all of them within 20 minutes. I'm going to rely on my timekeeper to let me know when we're close to the 20-minute mark. So what we're going to do is we're going to take turns. There have been questions that have been raised for Bill, and then there are some that have been raised for Phil as well. So the first question is directed to Bill. Does attributing creation to a creator stop us from testing?
Could you repeat that?
Yes. Does attributing creation to a creator, I think what the individual is asking is, if we attribute something to a creator, does that stop us from testing and going through the scientific method?
Absolutely not. I believe the scientific cultures that progressed believed in creators, that there was order to life, that there was orders to crop cycles, orders to the solar system, etc. So, of course, many of the great scientists, and I would question the 0.15%. Louis Yoakum, I consider him a man of science who repairs the knees. I would say most people do believe there's a creator. Statistics can tell lies. I think most people in the world of science do believe in that. I believe that there's predictions, there's order to the universe. We saw how we are benefited by predictions that life only comes from non-life. If life could come from non-life and you open a can of Campbell's soup, you could have an eyeball winking at you. You could have all kinds of life. But pasteurization taught that if you kill living organisms and secure it, they're not going to come back to life. So absolutely not. I love science. One reason I was an evolutionist is I truly thought this creationists were a threat to something that I loved. How many people would agree with that? I had only been told, oh, those are wackos, they're anti-science. So when I was an atheist, I said, well, I don't like creationists then, because they're picking on something that I love. I love science. It's my field, it's my degree, it's one of my great passions, and I don't believe it falsifies existence. That's 75 trillion cells, 60,000 miles of blood vessels is a design at all. And you get to rebut.
The question was, does attributing anything to a creator stop testing? It doesn't stop testing in the sense that you don't continue investigating, but it doesn't add anything to your research. And if anything, you can never disprove it, because again, a creator could, I mean, there's a lot of deistic evolutionists, a creator could have used evolution to guide the progress of life. I know Bill doesn't adhere to that. All I'm saying is that a creator can do whatever he wants, so you can't falsify it. It doesn't add anything. You know, the fact that a creator could have potentially done this doesn't add anything. It doesn't give you anything to test. He claims that you can test, you know, you can open a can of
Campbell soup.
Campbell soup, thank you. You can open a can of Campbell soup and you know that you won't see an eye. Well, again, that's not what evolution claims. To say otherwise is just misleading. I think that's about it.
All right, the next question is for Phil. The question is it true that ERUs kill the host and make something different? ERVs, excuse me.
I'm not familiar with that. Again, I'm not a biology major, so a lot of this is new information to me. But I'm reading this information and I'm looking at the citations. ERVs killing the host. ERVs killing the host. I've not heard that. I've done, you know, significant amount of research on ERVs. I've never once seen that mentioned at all. The only outside mention of ERVs regarding creationism, I've heard intelligent design advocates like to latch onto ERVs, claiming that they predicted them, saying that, you know, this is how God would have done it, or excuse me, they never say God. An intelligent designer, this is how an intelligent designer would have done it. And then they fail to elaborate on it as to why. So I've never heard that claim. I can't really respond to it because I'm just not familiar with it. I apologize.
For the first time, we agree. Now, I've researched ERVs too, mainly because of this debate. And I talked to a PhD in genetics, is actually John Sanford, that guy. We talked about ERVs. Once again, it's where a virus would attach to a genome and it's traceable. I don't believe that means common ancestry. Dr. John Sanford said if anything